I've always thought that rock music, much like my love life, is more rooted in irony than any of us would like to admit. So today I'm actually going to write and track an ironic rock song. Now what does that mean? It means it's a song that has a lot of emotion to it but makes absolutely no sense. So I am on purpose going to try to write this, making as little sense as possible. I am using my growing frustration with being trapped indoors as the impetus for this song. It is going to be called Release to the Wild. Now I'm going to be rocking this guitar called the Schecter Apocalypse because it is literally called the Apocalypse and it just makes a lot of sense to use this guitar for it. And I'm going to be tracking this through the Walrus Audio Iron Horse because, again, Iron Horse, Horseman, Apocalypse just makes a lot of sense. So we're going to start with getting some guitar riffs, lyrics. We're going to go through the entire recording process just in case you guys are wondering like what I use to record this stuff. And it's all going to be completely ironic, so let's get to it. The Apocalypse is here. All right, so I think you should start with some kind of riff. I think the most ironic way that I can intro a song is with triplet octaves. So they're just going to be like that's going to be the basis for the song, okay? Nothing fancy about it. None of these fancy major 7 chords that I overtly use in every single song that I ever write. Power chords A, C, G. All right. So again, this Iron Horse pedal is actually pretty awesome. There's 3 different modes. You can do super distorted, right? You can do compressed, and then boost level, or ultra compressed. For like a metal thing, I don't want to go for a metal thing. I'm going uncompressed into it. I want it to be a little dirty, a little sloppy. It's too much. It's nasty. The Iron Horse, the Apocalypse. I do think I'm probably going to add a little bit of reverb. Like that, maybe. Just kind of give it some depth, a little bit of space to bask and breathe in the irony. So basically the way I'm going to track this now, this is going into the Fender Deluxe Reverb 65 reissue. I'm going to use 2 microphones because, again, the opulence of rock music means tracking way more guitars than you actually need to. Usually I just do like maybe 1 mic and double take it, but for this, I'm going to do the SM57 into my Universal Audio 6176, and then the other one I'm going to do an Audix, what is that, a D4, and I'm going to have that going into a JHS Pedals Colour Box, which is supposed to emulate like an analog console type sound. So I'm going to be double tracking all of these, try to get some of that vintage analog tone out of the JHS, and then kind of just like combine those on one side, double track it through the Apocalypse neck, and then the bridge. So we have a little bit of both, and that'll probably choke the tone off on the bridge a little bit. But that's essentially going to be the guitars. Let's be real, the most important part here are going to be the lyrics. So I've jotted down some amazing lyrics in this fine fake leather folio here, which actually is blank. I just have it in my iPhone. I just wanted to look more impressive by potentially writing actual words with a pen or a pencil or something, but I don't have any of those. So again, this is called Release to the Wild. And here's what I have. Now I know that it's pointless, pushing on what can't be moved, but the patient act of waiting is a virtue that I've never used. So I head to the west to try and cheat a little extra sun, but it burns my soul like a chunk of coal, and I shiver till the day is done. Ooh, I've been down too long with the parasites and hangers-on. Ooh, now the need is calling me, it's calling me into the wild. Very Dio-inspired, a lot of these things. This is my absolute probably favorite lyric that I've ever written. I'm a guest inside this puzzle, and it's a pity that I can't stay long. When I asked the host a question, the answer that he gave was wrong. I've never been one to worry of pomp and circumstance, so I keep the beast in shackles, and I make the body dance. That's great. Like, it sounds kind of deep, but it really isn't. It makes no sense. It just kind of sounded good. So, another really important thing for this is for the chorus, the release to the wild. That part, I'm gonna be doing a lot of no, 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 no. And then at the end, maybe contradict myself with some yeah, 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 yeah. So the delivery of the lyrics is probably even more important than the lyrics themselves. Luckily, I bought this plugin, which by the way, quarantine has not been good on my wallet because I've just been spending money on plugins, which is the dumbest thing in the world. Other people are out buying essential supplies and food. Nope, plugins. That's where the real investments are. But I found this really cool one that I'll link you to that kind of gives this vinyl sounding distortion type space thing, which is essential for these vocals. So we're gonna track them now. All right, it's time to really channel everything I've ever done musically into this vocal performance. The name of that plugin I was talking about is the RC20 Retro Color. This is on the Vinyl 3 setting with the distortion turned way up. So let's get wild.
Now I know that it's pointless, pushing now can't be moved, but the patient act of waiting is a virtue that I never use. So I head to the west and try and cheat a little extra sun, but it burns my soul like a chocolate cold, and I ship it till the day is done. Ooh, I've been down too long with the parasites and hangers on, but the need is calling me, it's calling me into the wild. It's a pity that I can't stay long. When I asked the host a question, the answer that he gave was wrong. Never been one to worry of pomp and circumstance, so I keep the beast in shackles and I make the body dance. Ooh, I've been down too long with the parasites and hangers on. But the need is calling me, it's calling me into the wild. Release to the wild. Oh no, no, no. Into the wild. Release to the wild. Oh
no. It's synth time, everybody. So again, in my buying spree, I bought Omnisphere, which is like the most ridiculous synth plugin ever. It's kind of like everything. And I have this Arturia Keylab88, which is like an actual awesome like controller. And basically we're gonna redo some of the main riff lines, but with the synth. Now the cool thing about having what's called a monophonic synth is what the plugin is set up to, is you only play one note at a time. You can't play chords. It's just gonna be one note. But the cool thing about this is you can glide back and forth between different notes. So let's say I wanna get like an A, and I wanna go to higher A. You go back and forth, right? And you have like an LFO low frequency oscillator that is kind of giving it that pulse, which is synced to the tempo of it. So we're just gonna kind of grab that and add it to the main riff. So now when it comes to drums, what I like to do is I like to come up with like a really terrible just stock drum beat that I will just like do to a click instead of playing along with a click track. So I just have the Native Instruments, whatever drummer that they use, the vintage drummer thing, and all I have is like a kick 2 snare 4, kick 2 snare 4, and I'll track the guitars to that. But now I'm gonna go actually track real drums to kind of make it sound more like real. So real quick, the way the kit is mic'd up is 5 different microphones. I have 2 overheads, the Neumann KM184s, right there. Those are going into the Universal Audio 4710. I have an Audix D4 on the snare. I have an Audix D6, I think. Is it a D2? D6 on the kick? Yeah, D6. And then I have the AudioTechnica 4050 just kind of chilling in the room here. So again, pretty simple. 5 mics. Here we go. Let's rock it out. So bass, we're keeping this simple, just kind of following the root notes. I'm rocking the Ernie Bongo. Love this bass. Murdered out in just all black. Again, fitting the theme of being released to the wild during the apocalypse. Again, this is going into that JHS Colour Box, which I really love going into bass actually, because you can just kind of crank the bass frequencies up. It has like a built-in EQ. And then I'm going back into the 6176. And we're just gonna rock it out. Every song needs a solid breakdown if we've learned anything. Very spacey, not a huge Pink Floyd fan. Pink Floyd breakdown is appropriate here. So I have to clean it up here for the breakdown. Super clean. Again, same guitar, no distortion. All I've got on is the Empress Compressor, which is such an underrated pedal. You need a compressor pedal if you don't have it. Into the ARP 87 delay, into the Walrus Audio Slo. So it's gonna be like a... yeah, I just tap the tempo in, so that's why it should be semi on time with the track. Let's do it. So that is the tracking process of the next great rock song. Now my least favorite thing to do is mixing it. What I do is I do like an analog summing thing. So I have a Dangerous Music D-Box, which basically what it does is you can go out of the Universal Audio Apollo, which is my interface, and kind of stem 8 tracks out. So basically that's usually like 4 stereo buses. And then you send them out, you send it into this analog summing box, which is supposed to kind of like make it sound like an old analog console because it's electrically summing it as compared to digitally summing it. I don't know, I feel like it makes 10% of a difference, kind of sounding better. It's not the hugest thing in the world, but it does make a difference, and I feel like I mix differently through it. And the cool thing about that is once I have the mix, I send it out through this Warm Audio 2-bus compressor, which I think sounds really cool too. So that's another piece of the chain, the final piece of the chain to get back into the DAW. So I'm gonna do that and hopefully make like a music video for this, potentially the day after whenever this video posts. But if you have any suggestions on how to make an even more ironic rock song, please let me know. I'll try to link all the gear and stuff I used in the description in case you guys are interested. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have, so hit me up in the comment section because I got nothing better to do. So let me know what you think, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.